Well, we made it. This is the last video in the Wong Kar-Wai series, and again, the audio is bad, but I think we have a spicy take on this one, and I think it's worthwhile. I apologize. The back end of this series has had so many issues when it comes to, I guess, the quality, if that makes any sense. But I still had fun making this series with my wife, so I hope you enjoyed as well, and we'll catch you in the next one. All right, so we finished the box set, The World of Wong Kar, not sponsored by Diet Sam's Cola.
But sponsor us.
I'll take any sponsor. The World of Wong Kar-Wai by Criterion. We finished 2046 or 2046, and we did it. We're done. Let's go home. Goodbye. In all honesty, I gotta be honest. I don't give a shit about this movie. I was so bored through majority of it. I did not connect with it one iota, outside of like some elements, but it's the longest of the box set, and it felt it at every second. What do you think?
I don't think I disliked it as much as you did. I'll agree, I didn't really connect with much of the movie. But there was some story elements I liked. I really liked the few times it went into the sci-fi alternative world, but it didn't do it enough. I definitely didn't dislike it as much as you did, but I did not care too much for it. I think my biggest issue is once we found out that it was supposed to be a sequel or part of an unofficial trilogy, it made it worse for me. Because the characters, in my head, it was making the movie worse to try and connect them to the characters they were supposed to be in the other movies. Because they were completely different people.
Yeah, so this movie, if you don't know, 2046, is supposedly the third into an unofficial trilogy of Days of Being Wild and In the Mood for Love, and it kind of acts as a pseudo sequel to In the Mood for Love, where In the Mood for Love, the character who was the writer moves on and ends up writing this book, 2046, about this place people go to find their lost memories, and you never get back from 2046. That's like the whole point. And it's named that because in the real world, this author is like in love with this person that was in 2046, and he moves into 2047. He wanted to move in 2046, but it wasn't ready yet. So he moves into 2047, and then throughout the film, he goes through these various relationships, trying to find that connection, that he had with that woman, and he never really does. And like you said, everything that I found the most interesting aspect of the film had to do with the novel 2046, because the film would film scenes from the novel and splice it into the film itself, and those were definitely the most interesting. But majority, and I mean a majority of this film, is just this writer and his relationships. And it's one of those films that if it doesn't land with you emotionally, or you don't connect with it or that character, this will do nothing for you, because that is the bulk of this movie, is that. So if you very early on aren't making that connection, it does nothing to get you into that connection with that character, and you just sit, and it's just so long. Oh my God, is it long?
It's also the main character is really unlikable.
Yeah,
because like
it's kind of a douche.
The only people he falls for are people who are unavailable, and then the people who are willing to
Mr. Steal Your Girl
tries.
Yeah.
Never succeeds. And the people who are willing to reciprocate affection, he's like almost mean to.
Mm-hmm.
Like that one girl. Oh gosh, what was her name?
I don't even ask me names, because that's
The only names I remember are Sue and Mimi, and I don't think it was either of them.
Is this from a different movie?
They were in this movie too.
Oh,
But the one girl specifically says, I don't care if you cheat on me. I don't care if there's other women. I'm willing to love you. And he's basically like,
nah, bitch, I'm good.
Nah, I like my women to be a little less available.
I don't know. It's funny because this is I'm messing with my mic because this little rubber thing's coming out. I don't know what it is. It has to do with the cord. But this is the third in the trilogy of my least favorite movies in this box set.
Yeah.
And I could not get into Days of Being Wild. I did not connect it with that much with In the Mood for Love. And the same thing here with 2046. I just did not connect with it. And, you know, out of these 7 movies, 4 of his movies I enjoyed. And then these 3 that are all supposed to be connected together just never landed for me at all.
That's exactly how I feel. Literally, these 3 are bottom of my list.
Same, I think. So I will say one thing about this movie that I thought was a really strong positive was, for one, I loved the intro to it and a lot of the music that's throughout this film. It has a good score and it uses good pieces of licensed music really well. And visually, I really loved the cinematography in this movie. I loved the color grading in this one. It's very similar to his previous works, but the cinematography in this one's a lot more still and patient. It also has some slight movement in there, but it's all nice and like steady cam. It looks great. Like, this is probably one of his best in terms of visuals from a cinematography standpoint. And the sci-fi elements of the 2046, 2046, what do you want to call it, was gorgeous. They use like computer animation for some of it, and this is like an early 2000s movie, and it looked great to this day. It blends really well with what they actually have going on in the real world, and I love all the costume designs, especially for the 2046 era. But visually, that's honestly what kept me into the movie the most, was the cinematography. The framing, the blocking, and the composition was all just great. It had that slow motion like choppiness to it, but it wasn't as exaggerated with its frame rate as it was in some of his other films. And yeah, it looked great visually, and that's got to be my strongest suit with this. I mean, it's one of those ones that's like, I could see if you connect with this film being great, like, for you, because on a technical aspect, much like all of his other films, they've been pretty great. You know, a lot of great acting, cinematography, editing. Yeah, I mean, the editing was good. The pacing, for me, was not, but it's one of those things, like, if you connect with this character and this story and you get emotionally invested, I mean, I guess you could say that with every movie, but with this movie in particular, it would be amazing.
It's like a prerequisite to like this movie because it is so character driven.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was my biggest issue, is that the main character I just genuinely did not like.
I wouldn't say I didn't like him. I just could not connect with him or just the plot beats of this movie. I couldn't get into it. We were like an hour in. I was like, oh my God, I'm just ready for this to be over. And it's the longest of the box set, and it just putters along, doesn't it?
No, I didn't like him because he didn't make any sense to me. Literally, the entire movie is about him trying to replicate this love that he had for this woman, and then literally refusing love from any woman that's actually available.
I think he was looking for something like too specific, and that's why he didn't really open himself up.
But he did. He opened himself up to like the apartment owner's daughter, who again was unavailable. He opened himself up to the woman who lived next door for a while until she got too serious. And then he wasn't interested when she started turning away other men for him.
I don't know, maybe he wasn't actually looking. I don't know, maybe he wasn't actually looking for. Maybe he didn't know what he was looking for.
Which is very possible. I mean, but to me, he made no sense. Like, I'm sure somewhere someone relates to him, but for me, he was the main reason I did not like this movie, because I could not relate to his mental process and like what he was choosing and not choosing to do.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't, for me, find him to be that interesting of a character. And like, I think about like, you know, some of his, like, a lot of these movies are about human connection and love. And I just think about the ones that are in the set that I really like, of how they explored more interesting characters that were a little bit more, I don't know if I want to say complex, but a little bit more
Deep.
yeah, maybe deeper is the right word, but I guess I connected with them more. I kind of got behind them more. I liked their character more. And you know, this little unofficial trilogy, I just couldn't get behind any of the characters. I just didn't like any of the characters. Yeah, the actors are giving off good performances. There's a lot of Wong Kar-Wai collabs, long-term collabs are showing up in this one. A lot of the same actors he likes to use, and they've been good this whole box set. It's just, I think it really depends on the material and how, at least for me personally, how I connected with that character and got behind him. And I just, in these three movies, I can't get behind the characters. It's just not interesting to me. It really isn't.
No, I agree, because this one was very one note. I mean, his entire personality was him coming on to women or rejecting their advances, and outside of that, the only other aspect to his personality was that he was a writer writing about these same exact women.
But writing them to be more interesting than what's happening in the bulk of the film.
Exactly. So he was very one note. Which is, I mean, I guess in my head, it would have been fine if one of those notes was done better. Like if the entire movie was his book, I would have loved it.
I probably would have too, because everything that was happening in the book, and I mean, that could be interpreted in a way where it's like, well, yeah, because he's writing about more exciting things that are happening.
Because it's a fantastical version.
That's fair, but when you're running a 2-hour, 9-minute runtime, and
you gotta add some razzle dazzle.
Yeah, you have these elements that I find incredibly more fascinating, but we spend 90% of the movie not pursuing those elements. It just becomes tedious. I mean, it really does. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, the book reflects what's happening in his life, and they have, you know, the actors that are playing these characters in the real life play the characters in the book, but the book was more interesting, and the real life that eats up most of the film. I just did not connect with and just had no interest in.
Now that we both have just absolutely tore this film apart.
Considering the ratings on our least favorites compared to like on IMDb,
we're wrong.
Yeah, we're probably wrong. But that's the beauty of art.
It's all personal preference.
Yeah, it's all the personal preference. I understand a lot of the technical prowess that are in these movies. When it comes to story beats, some movies you just don't connect with, and that's how I feel about this one. Mm-hmm. What'd you give it out of 10 before we go into our box set rating?
Gosh, out of 10? Oh, I didn't even think. I'm 100% sure someone is going to absolutely find me disrespectful for this.
Someone's got to watch this first. That's always the chance nobody watches it.
I'm going to disrespect someone so hard. 3.
Oh, 3?
Maybe a 4. I don't know. I struggled to want to get through it. And there's a lot of, you know, like the little asterisks next to it. Maybe it's because it was the end of the box set. Maybe it's because we didn't watch it in tandem with the other two it's supposed to go with. Maybe it's because it's a cold day and the dog kicked me off the couch and I had to watch it off the concrete floor.
chose to sit on the floor to give him the couch. He didn't kick you off the couch.
I'm blaming someone for that.
But I mean, it's always too. It could just be personal preference because we haven't really watched anything that serious here recently. We've been watching a lot of
we've been watching absolute garbo.
Yeah, we've been watching a lot of cornball stuff recently. So that could be a effect. Because I mean, every movie. I think every movie always deserves a rewatch.
Oh,
if you don't like,
everything
unless
deserves a
it's
second
Dragon Ball Evolution or Texas Chainsaw 3D. Otherwise, everything deserves a rewatch because personal mood and everything like that affects it. But I'm not rushing to rewatch this one.
I'll give it a 4. I'll give it a 4 because I do think it was one of the most visually appealing. Let me start that again. One of the most visually appealing ones in the box set.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 5 out of 10. When I try to rate movies, especially like these ones that are pretty like divisive on like me not getting it, but also understanding people would really love it, I tried to break it up into like 2 sets of 5s. So it'd be like 0.5 out of 5 is like my personal connection with the film, and then 0.5 out of 5 is like the technicality of the film and understanding that this is like well made and well kind of put together. It just didn't land for me. And so then you get your score out of 1 to 10 out of that range. And so for me, it's probably like a 5 out of 10. It's not for me. What?
I rate from the just absolute depths of the middle of my brain. Just, that feels right.
Yeah, I mean, I do that with a lot of movies too. But I mean, when it's a movie like this that I understand, there's a lot of prowess here and stuff like that.
For someone,
But
this is
like their number
favorite,
one.
yeah.
Yes, for somebody out there, this is their number one. It's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've rated a good handful of movies like that as a 5 out of 10. And I'm gonna stick with that's my rating for this one. It's a 5 out of 10. I didn't personally enjoy it. I understand there's some merit here. I did like it. And honestly, if I would rewatch this, it would just to be from a cinematography standpoint. But like I said, I'm not rushing to rewatch it.
I think it's also important to say that this is the only one in the box set that our dog would not sleep through.
Yeah, but he didn't watch it either. He kind of like huff and puff like
he was so mad. Absolutely just completely disrespected that we were down here instead of upstairs doing something else.
Yeah, because it's like he either watches the movie or he sleeps through the movie. And this one, he was just like moving around, laying up and getting up and down, and you could just tell he was kind of bored with it. But let me see these toxic wastes.
Well, in his defense, it might be because it was the least colorful and there was like no fast cuts, cars, there was a lot less rain in this one.
Yeah, but you say that, but he loved Force Majeure that I just watched the other day, so there's...
Maybe he wants to be playing with his toys.
All right. We've tried all the flavors.
Random? What am I doing?
We're just grab one at random. We've tried all the flavors.
I don't remember. Is black cherry good?
I don't remember. I got apple.
Woo.
That way we could finish off with the toxic waste.
Did we want to give like our official, this is our list?
Yes, we should.
I will give my official list. So, my list from, am I going top down or bottom up?
Let's do bottom up.
Bottom up.
Yeah, so you're number 7. We'll go back and forth. You do 7, and I'll do 7, and go that kind of way.
Number 7, my least favorite is probably going to be 2046. I want to keep calling it 2048.
Because of Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, maybe. 2046. Honestly, I think it's just because it's fresh in my mind. It might be higher later.
My number 7 is Days of Being Wild. That one's still my least favorite and my lowest rated.
Help me out. Which one's Days of Being Wild?
The second movie in the box set, the one where he finds out his mom wasn't his real mom, so he goes.
Oh, I gotta change mine then. Days of Being Wild would be my last one. Unfortunately, it spans such a long time frame because something always came up.
We started watching this right after we started the box set right after I broke my shoulder, and now I have like 70% movability of it. But
so it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So yeah, Days of Being Wild would probably be my bottom one.
Don't you take that.
So I lied.
He just wants this.
The number
Number
six?
six.
Number
Yeah.
6 would be 2046.
My number 6 would be In the Mood for Love, which is number 6 in the box set too. But that would be mine because I'll tell you my number 5 next. But there's that one to me is just like right down the middle of the road where there wasn't much that I enjoyed of it, but there wasn't like much. I don't know. Really, my number 6 and my number 5 could probably interchange, but I'll give you my
That's
reason.
kind of how I feel.
Yeah. So
I
what's your
pretty
number
much
5?
feel all 3 are so close together, my bottom 3.
Mm-hmm.
That mine would be In the Mood for Love.
That's your number 5?
No, wait. Yes. Sorry, I have it written down because I can't for the life of me remember my order.
So my number 5 would be 2046, and my reason why it's higher than In the Mood for
Because it's
Love
prettier.
is because of the visuals. Yeah, I like the cinematography
Such a
more.
technical snob.
I wouldn't say that. I just I like visuals. Like I like framing, and I like the color grading and stuff. That's just
See, mine is flipped from yours because I actually like the characters more in the Mood for Love.
I would say I probably like the characters more too,
And
but
I connect more to the people in the movie than the looks, which is probably why I never realize when CGI is off.
yeah, I just for me like if I'm gonna rewatch one of them, I'm probably gonna rewatch 2046 over In the Mood for Love, just for the fact that that cinematography is so strong. But what's your number 4?
As tears go by.
Mine would be Happy Together.
We were very divisive on that one. Weren't
Yeah. I mean, we were close, but we were a little off. Mine would be Happy Together. Would be mine.
Then that would be followed by Chungking Express, which I actually,
Is your number 3?
yeah, it'd be my number 3. I actually really enjoyed it. I don't want it to sound like I didn't because it's number 3. From here up, I enjoyed all of them. I would rewatch all of them tomorrow, probably.
I do want to say something about my number 4, Happy Together, and that is, I know when we talked about it, I felt like I probably came off a little harsh on it, and I do want to say, because it's been a few weeks since we watched that it has actually like set on me really well, and I remember a lot of that movie pretty vividly, whereas like In the Mood for Love, even though that was the last one we watched and it was a few weeks ago, it's not held that strong in my memory. And Days of Being Wild, I don't remember hardly anything about it. It might as well, if I rewatch it, it must be like rewatching it for the first time again. Where Happy Together has really, I wouldn't say it's as resonated with me as these next 3, but it has stuck out more and more to me. And I'm definitely, I think I gave it a 7 out of 10 when we talked about it on the video, and I'm still at a 7, but I would be open to rewatching it. I don't know. I guess that's what I'm trying to say is like it's set well with me. But my number 3 is As Tears Go By, and my top 3 are all high ratings. Like I would super recommend them. I really loved these 3. I would watch these 3. I mean, if we wanted to rewatch them tomorrow, I would.
That's exactly what I said.
That was it?
Yeah. Okay,
Pay
so.
attention when you talk.
Yeah, we all know. So my number 2 would have been Fallen Angels.
Okay, my number 2 is also Fallen Angels.
Really? I
Yes.
thought we had difference of opinions on that one.
No, I think we were pretty close. I think the only difference was you liked Fallen Angels more than my number 1.
Oh, that's, yeah, true.
Fallen Angels is awesome. I really liked it.
I did too. It almost felt, I wouldn't say like a different director, but the story seemed to be just slightly different. Because there was obviously no one you were supposed to be rooting for.
Yeah, it's a little bit. To me, it's
a
like
black sheep.
Fallen Angels and As Tears Go By are kind of the outliers where they feel pretty different. What's your number 1?
Happy Together.
Happy Together. My number 1 is Chungking Express.
I knew that. You, the second we watched it, adored everything about that movie.
I love, and don't get me wrong, I love Fallen Angels. Like they're very close together. But Chungking Express just hit a lot of beats for me that I just love, and I adored that movie. I know that's like his most popular movie, So I'm a little bit basic bitch when I say that, but like, I don't know. I love Chungking Express. I thought it was fantastic. It lived up to what I was hoping it would be. So.
Oh, mine got squished.
Huh. So.
Chink. Oh, it's hurting my ear.
So anyway, oh. You okay?
It's really hurting my ear.
Why is it hurting your ear?
I don't know. It's like,
What is happening right now?
it's anything like a shooting pain from here up into my ear.
That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay? You want to spit it out?
Oh yeah, I want to spit it out. It's fine. It's fine. No, it's good now. It just sour. It stopped hurting.
Okay. I do want to say 2046, 2046, the discs did work. So 4 of the 7 discs were defective in this set. Again, Criterion was cool enough to send me, well, I would hope so, send me replacement discs. So if you do have this disc, this set, please go through and check your discs. Every one of them faltered around the same time, which was like around the hour to hour 10 mark. Every one of them.
But they varied in how long it would skip out on. The
True.
first one I think skipped out almost a half an hour.
A lot of it.
And then the, oh gosh, what was that one? Chungking Express maybe?
No, I think Chungking worked.
The one where they're on the train. That's why I said Express.
As
'Cause I'm
Tears Go
thinking,
By.
As Tears Go By, it only skipped
No,
out.
no, sorry. No, that was Days of Being Wild, because that's where it paused at, was on the train.
Days of Being Wild only skipped out for maybe 10 minutes.
No, that was the one that skipped out for like a half an hour. We missed a ton.
No, the one, oh, you're right. What am I thinking of? One only skipped for like,
In
the
the mood
hotel
for
one.
In the Mood for Love.
Yeah, it only skipped out for like maybe
Like 2
10
minutes. I would
Oh,
say. Yeah, it wasn't much.
No, it wasn't much.
But it is worth knowing that if you do have this set and you don't have the replacement discs, check your discs, and you might want to reach out to Criterion and get you some replacement discs. Overall, Criterion, besides the discs being an issue, which is something that's, in my opinion, or experience with them is pretty new, everything looked great. All great transfers, a lot of special features. It's a cool set. It's a weirdly designed box, but
The way it unfolds, yeah.
Cool booklet. It's
Beautiful still. I mean,
Yeah.
the art on it's beautiful. It's like kind of velvety matte.
Yeah, it's kind of got like this like velvet, like mattish like look to it. It's a cool box set. I'm glad I finally we got through this box set and kind of dived a little bit into the world of Wong Kar-Wai. Yeah, I had a fun time. Thanks for going through it with me, and also thank you for getting me for Christmas last year.
Also sponsor us, Criterion.
Yes, that'd be an awesome sponsor.
I will ask every brand that shows up on this channel.
Invite me to
want
the-
a sponsor.
Invite me to the Criterion closet, and I'll make them go bankrupt.
Don't say that.
I take like a big Costco, one of those big IKEA bags, and just start one hand on the end of the shelf and just all down into the bag. Y'all made a mistake today. But
Okay, maybe don't sponsor us.
no, please. But if you watched it, and you watched this far and you liked the video, you can consider subscribing. I know this is a much different of a layout than I normally do for a video, but it was fun. So it was fun to make anyway. I don't know if it's fun to watch yet, but
And if you're new here, I'm not normally on the channel, so
No.
don't let me deter you.
but okay, the sour's starting to leak out from the inside now. But you can subscribe, and if you press that little bell notification, it'll let you know anytime I upload videos. And yeah, you can leave a like on the video, comment what your Wong Kar-Wai, your favorite Wong Kar-Wai video is, favorite Wong Kar-Wai movie.
And if you know a more sour candy than toxic waste.
I think Toxic Waste is supposed to be the world record in the sour, ain't it?
I don't believe that. I feel like somewhere in a different country there's a more sour one.
Maybe. Anyway, bye.
Bye.